50 metres to Pecco Bagnaia, chopping the throttle in front of Morbidelli and Acosta. Acosta tries again to find a way through Morbidelli, and there is more contact. What a battle this has been early on here in Misano. Bezzecchi on Miller on lap 1. At the start of lap 2, it's now Acosta on Morbidelli.
It's Acosta's arrow that's gone. Not on the right hand side, his wheel on Pedro Acosta's left. The Wingland has gone.
Yeah, that's going to make that RC16 now a real handful. Without half your aero, there was a race recently, was at Silverstone, where he lost some aero. And he said, imagine trying to fly a plane with just one thing. It doesn't happen. So it's going to be a real tough 26, 25 laps and now for Pedro Acosta, managing the handling of that gas machine with half of his aero stripped off after the Morbidelli hit.
So both Primo Ducatis have been in contact. Morbidelli with Acosta, and of course Martin with Bagnaia. I think he realised just at the last possible second, is like, I'm going to have my front tyre taken away from me here. I'm going to have to get out of this, and he just realised in time. He closes it back on the rear tyre of Bagnaia. Martin saw an opportunity there with Bagnaia in the lead of the race, winning in another one.
Yeah, this is what a scale this was. What an escape for the pair. Martin, he thought he was going to hit Bagnaia. He thought that he was really worried that they were both going to go down. He was on the foot pegs. He was clambering all over the front end there. That's his reaction there told you everything. His reaction there told more than a thousand words could have done. Boy, Martin was convinced he was going to clatter into Pecco Bagnaia. Thankfully, the pair of them, they got away with it.
So this is the Acosta Morbidelli battle. Acosta, this was at least the second attempt he'd had at passing Morbidelli, and you can see there his left making contact with the rear of Morbidelli's Ducati as it sweeps around the outside of us. Nothing anything wrong from Morbidelli's part, but of course it took the winglets away from Acosta's KTM.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse as well. The pair of them could have been eating gravel.
Right, yeah.
Now this is the third time that Acosta has had a little nibble.
Gave him room.
Yeah, this time around Morbidelli probably sensed it was coming, so that Acosta then does find himself into P3. What a ride this is by the rookies. First visit on a Motogp bike here to Misano. He runs wide though, doesn't he, going through Tremonto. You just wonder what he's missing downforce in the braking zone for turn 9. It picks him on that wide line. Morbidelli speaks back on through. The loss of that aero is going to be a huge factor, a huge issue for Acosta to be contending with here.
So Bagnaia is now 0.6 of a second clear of Jorge Martinez. Acosta again, look, you can just see him drifting wide there through 13 as he tries to stick with Frankie Morbidelli. Behind them is Binder, then it's Bastianini and Marc Marquez, who we saw making contact on the first lap of the race. Alex Marquez, who we saw in that battle with Bezzecchi. They're just behind Jack Miller, who they complete the top 10, 8th, 9th and 10th.
There are some vicious hard braking zones here in Misano where you need all the downforce you can possibly get just to help you into the corners. You have to be so precise as well, very narrow, hard to overtake, so a real problematic final part of this Grand Prix coming up for Pedro Acosta. He's going to be getting a serious upper body workout, isn't he, for the remainder of this Grand Prix as he muscles that RC16 around the track. On board with Marquez into turn 4, the Rio corner. This is where we had the contact with Acosta and Morbidelli very early on. Morbidelli actually is regrouping after some troubles with Acosta early on. He's the fastest rider on circuit, not by much, 131.722 there in third place.
He's just 0.4 of a second behind his teammate Jorge Martin, who's right on board with the 93. We've got the 23 of Bastianini leading up ahead of us, and the 33 of Brad Binder. KTM will be pretty happy with how this Grand Prix has got up and running. They've each gained a place. Acosta from 5th into 4th, and Brad Binder from 6th up into 5th place. Although the longer the sprint went on yesterday, the KTM just could not match the pace of the Ducatis. Will the slight uncertainty of the early part of this race just allow KTM to stick around at the front?
Aprilia having a right old humbling in their home Grand Prix. Their best friend at the moment is Aleix Espargaro, way down in 13th place. Maverick Vinales is not even in the points at the moment, early on in 16th spot. Oh, who's down? Somebody's gone down in sector 4.
Is it Morbidelli? Certainly not one of the top 2. We're looking at them. It's Pedro Acosta.
I'm going to say, just saw there Pedro Acosta. Well, that's surely the contributing factor there has to be the lack of aero, because we've seen him run wide in so many of the braking zones. Yeah, that's not what you want to see. So Acosta then now into turn 4. Well,
he's already off the road here.
Yeah, he's gone wide going through 13, and then as he flicked it in to turn 14, bottom gear, first gear, 70 kilometres an hour there, and Acosta eats dust.
That had been coming, you felt, ever since that initial initial problem is Marquez past Binder, he's trying to go through. Bastianini has already passed the KTM, so it's been a tough minute or so for the KTM to Costa down and off the road, and Brad Binder has now dropped back from what was briefly fourth back into fifth. And race direction will have a very close look at the state of the track. We'll be communicating with the marshals down there at 14 just how much gravel has Pedro Acosta scattered all over the racetrack.
Yeah, that will be very, very close. Little tackers, we can see it pouring out the belly pan. Yeah, Simon just telling us from down in pit there as well. Another great observation. As he ran wide going through 12, he would have picked up some dirt on the outside there. As he flicked it in then into 14, well then the front end just washed out immediately. It was like he was crashing in the rain conditions which might still come. Thanks for that, Simon. Sure, appreciated as always. We're on board then with Marquez into this tricky, gnarly, low gear right-hander as Jack Miller gets eased aside by Marco Bezzecchi. Those two had first lap contact as well.
So far on this lap, Bagnaia is maintaining that lead of around 0.6 of a second over Martin. It's actually Morbidelli closing in on the back of his teammates at the moment in that battle for second place once again. Frankie Morbidelli sets the fastest lap for 1:31.6 as Marc Marquez thinks about how he's going to make his way through on a KTM, which was the question he was asking himself for much of the sprint yesterday.
Sick of the sights of Brad Binder's rear tyre. You can see how hard Binder was pushing the front end of that KTM. You can see the rear tyre lifting in the air as he fights desperately to hold on to this top five.
Morbidelli is all over the back of Jorge Martin here. He's now just two tenths behind him. You were briefly watching it top left of your screen. Marquez looked like he was getting a bit of a run there on Binder down to Quercicorn, which is where the leaders are now. Morbidelli is something much closer to Martin than Martin is to Bagnaia. Marquez is letting Binder know he's there. Miller is letting Bezzecchi know he's there as the 73 goes back past the 72.
Yeah, you can see the missing air on the right-hand side of Marco Bezzecchi's Ducati GP23, and as Miller just running a little bit offline, Alex Marquez was also able to come through as well. So Bezzecchi 7th to 9th here in front of his home crowd. Yeah, Frankie Morbidelli can find a way through on his Pramac Ducati teammate Jorge Martin. Well, a big chunk of Bagnaia's win bonus will be deposited into Frankie Morbidelli's bank account, only because Bagnaia needs every point he can get with the 26-point deficit. Is the rain just starting to fall a little bit heavier? Yeah, seeing a few more spots falling on that commentary box window.
Yeah, the gather is raining quite heavily down at turn 4, so the riders are at the other end of the racetrack at the moment. They might be in for a bit of a nasty shock in around 4 corners time. Bagnaia will see the white panel with the red cross in front of him as he now breaks forward turn 1. Does he get himself through turn 1? A bit more, but then he doesn't. Yeah, he goes down.
Yeah, the rain has been coming stronger and stronger, and Morbidelli is the first victim. He loses the front of that Pramac Ducati then into the first corner. So this is a big warning, isn't it? It's very, very slick. It's very, very greasy out there. Bagnaia, the car hardly carrying any lean angle. The rain is now at its heaviest of this Sunday race day here. And look at Jorge Martin there now. They come out of turn 6. No lean angle whatsoever from the world champion at Bagnaia. Morbidelli then caught out by the damp surface going into turn 1.
Oh, I thought Martin was going to struggle to get something. You can see it now in front of us. They might have to come in at the end of this lap for a flag-to-flag change. They're 2.5 seconds clear of Bastianini, who's now 3rd, Binder 4th. The Marquez brothers are 5th and 6th, but Martin can just watch Bagnaia and just gauge how much grip he's got. He'll get a warning up ahead of him because Bagnaia is really crawling through Quercia.
Yeah, Bagnaia was just dragging his right foot on the tarmac there as he braked into Tremonto. And now Bastianini is starting to come right into contention.
He's taken a second and a half out of them.
Martin goes wide, going through turn 12. Let's not forget the flag-to-flag specialist, Brad Binder and Marc Marquez. Who will ever forget Brad Binder's victory on slicks in that Rebel Ring in Spielberg? So Martin's putting his hand on. They're just letting their teams know they're coming in. Of course, they can't stop the race. It's flag-to-flag. Is Martin sending a message to his team that he's going to come in? He certainly is. That was the clear message. So Martin has rolled the dice then. He has come into pit lane. He's seeing Pecca Bagnaia. Bagnaia has carried on. So has Bastianini. So has Binder. So has Miller. So Jorge Martin, the world championship leader, is the only rider who has decided he's seen enough. Too risky, too dangerous. Martin in for the wet bike.
Along with the Aprilias, Aleix Espargaro, Raul Fernandez and Maverick Vinales are also coming in. The information though from Simon Craig from pit lane is it stopped raining.
It's a fine line between genius, isn't it, and making the wrong call here. They're all now ganging up behind Pecco Bagnaia as Jorge Martin gone from hero to zero here in Misano. It has already stopped raining. Have we seen the worst of the weather? Martin then takes the huge decision. Clearly he felt the conditions weren't safe enough to carry on slick tyres, as here they come, as we predicted. Brad Binder and Marc Marquez, the two flag-to-flag experts, the two the GP. They're so good, aren't they, at assessing these conditions. Jack Miller also we have to factor in. Thriller Miller, he is coming right into this battle as well. There is Jack up into fourth place. A big gang, a big freight train now right on Pecco Bagnaia's rear tyre.
We'll keep an eye on the timing screens to let you know how Jorge Martin is doing out there on his wet tyre short bike. Marc Marquez is loving this though, isn't he? As they're now crawling all over the back, and Pecco Bagnaia, who dare not push. Marc Marquez is quite happy to push. He's up in the second place.
Yeah, all the riders behind Bagnaia, they're not really factoring in the championship, are they? They're so far off. The likes of Marquez over 70 points back. Marquez is going through on the inside. Wow. He just made that look so easy. He's just got so much more confidence. Miller goes through on his factory KTM colleague. Binder into the final corner. Over the line there, Marquez it is that leads here in Misano.
Through the second sector, which was Jorge Martin's first sector on wets, he took 56 seconds to do the second sector. Marquez took 49 seconds. Martin is going slower than these guys at the moment.
Trying to go around the outside of Bastianini through turn 2 there. It was Brad Binder. He's now going to attack him in the brakes into the Rio corner. Coming from a long way back there. Moving out, Alex Marquez was Marco Bezzecchi. Look at Fabio Quartararo also on the factory Yamaha, taking advantage of these very sketchy conditions to get himself into podium contention. Simon Craig, just telling us from pit lane, it's completely dried out. What a call. What a decision that was by Jorge Martin. The team would have told him, you're the rider on the top of that motorcycle, you make the call, signal so we know you're coming in, just as he did. But at the moment, it is a gamble that has spectacularly backfired on the World Championship leader.
He needs it to rain again, and rain hard. Quartararo is trying to go through on Marco Bezzecchi. It's all playing into the hands of the riders with very little to lose. Marquez leads from Bagnaia and Jack Miller. Bastianini's now coming under pressure from Brad Binder. Bagnaia, is he growing in confidence now at this stage with the rain easing off?
Well, he just looks more confident. To have a reference in front of him, it's now Marc Marquez. It's the case to follow the leader. Bagnaia, the first one, was sort of hitting the rain spots when he was at the front of this Grand Prix. Now he's just able to sit in behind Marquez and let 93 do the work at the front. He's just seen a big injection of confidence here for Pecco Bagnaia. Now he's able to follow Marquez.
Through the first sector on the lap that's just been completed, Jorge Martin was 2 seconds slower than the leaders. Through the second sector, he was again 2 seconds slower than the leaders. If he does
moment and think, crikey, I made the wrong call. It was a big call in what's turning out to be a big Grand Prix, isn't it? He's back in the pits here. Jorge Martin, this is the second time then he has come into the pit lane. We're only on lap 9 of 27, third race distance completed. And look at the swing this is having. Look at the impact on this championship.
Yeah, he's not even on his second bike yet. Jorge Martin is effectively out of contention. He needs a red flag because otherwise he's fighting for just small points. All the riders who switched have come straight back in pit lane as Bagnaia attacks Marc Marquez. Martin, Fernandez, Vinales, Espargaro, Acosta and Rins have all come back up pit lane 2 laps after changing.
Can you believe it? Having done so much hard work, so many brilliant performances by Jorge Martin to move into that commanding 26-point lead in the World Championship. It's all being done by a few light spots of rain here in this epic Red Bull Grand Prix of San Marino.
The leaders here. Martin's coming back out of pit lane. He'll be near enough a lap behind the leaders. We're watching Marquez, Bagnaia and Miller, but you'll soon see the riders who switched twice in this Grand Prix following out pit lane. Look, there comes Jorge Martin. He is a lap down.
I can hardly believe my eyes as Jorge Martin filtered motors back out on circuit. He's been in the pit lane twice already in this Misano Grand Prix. A Misano Grand Prix which has already had so many twists and turns, so much of an impact as well on the Motogp World Championship standings. Marc Marquez and it is that leads from Bagnaia. Jack Miller there in third place. Marquez and Miller really did cash in when the rain was at its heaviest, didn't they? We know how good those two are at just quickly being able to judge and adapt to the rapidly evolving track conditions, where you can find the limit. Of course, a lot of skill and a lot of bravery involved as well. You have to take your hat off to Marquez and Miller because they are taking advantage of the conditions thrown at them.
Yeah, the pace has settled down. They're back in the 33s now. 33.0 for Marc Marquez, 33.1 for Bagnaia. And as the race settles down, the KTMs are now starting to just about drift back out of this battle for the lead. You can't see Jack Miller from this overhead shot. He's now got Bastianini, Alex Marquez, Binder, Petecchi and Quartararo all over the back of him.
Marquez versus Bagnaia in the Caddy's home Grand Prix in Misano. Marc Marquez has not had back-to-back Grand Prix victories since Austin and Emilia-Romagna 3 years ago. Over the line we start at lap 12 of 27. Alex Rins on the factory Yamaha has pitted. I guess he's got a technical problem. I can't imagine he's pitting for a change of bikes as this battle continues to rage between Miller and Bastianini. Aeneas fans are en masse in the grandstands at turn 3. You can hear them making a right old racket as he tries to get back on the podium here. Over the line, the gap between Marquez and Bagnaia was just under 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, that was the second bike swap for Alex Rins. He didn't come in when the others did for their second change. He waited in the lap, I guess, just hoping against hope that there might be some more rain coming. Fortunately for him, there isn't. Bastianini then looking to get through on Jack Miller. Bastianini will feel he can still win this Grand Prix from here. He did a 32.9 last time round. That's Miller. Bastianini at 32.5. He can go with the leaders, I think, from here. He needs to make sure he passes Miller quickly. That's exactly what he's done. He's a second and a half behind his teammate on the road in second place. We know Bastianini's quick around here.
And this time around, he does make an attack at turn 8 for the podium count. On the last time of the sprint yesterday, he lunged on the inside of Morbidelli into that turn 8, ran immediately wide, and that's still in fourth place. This time around, he does secure third place as it stands right now. We're following then the two future factory Ducati teammates. 11 World Championships between them already. Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia fly through turn 15. It was at that turn 15 yesterday where Marc Marquez dumped the Gresini Ducati in Q2. That's why he found himself at the back of that third row in 9th place. The message loud and clear. Plus 4/10 of a second to Pecco.
The only position Jorge Martin is going to gain from here now is if riders fall off in front of him. Because he's a lap behind, unless he unlaps himself, which isn't going to happen, he's not going to be able to get into a position to chase down the likes of Bradl and Nakagami. And even if he could, there's just not enough time left in the race. Of course, dropping a lap, you very rarely get that back in a MotoGP race. So Jorge Martin is in 15th place. The riders who swap bikes twice are all in a battle for the final World Championship points, unless riders drop out ahead of them.
It's easy to say, isn't it, sitting in a nice, dry, warm commentary box. Why did Jorge Martin come in so early? Only he will know. They would have discussed the strategy, discussed the tactics pre-race. We already saw something of an immediate inquest going between the team Gino Borsa and Carucci and Ramagnoli.
Of course, his teammate just crashed out.
Yeah, this is just such a huge moment in the World Championship. I cannot wait to hear Jorge Martin's thoughts on what is being a dismal day for him here in Misano. Well, dream double slipped through his fingers the moment he decided to put the arm up to inform his team he was coming in very early on for his wet bike.
Of course, when you're leading the World Championship, the rider who's second to the points is right in front of you. I guess the temptation would be just to do what Pecco Bagnaia does. Jorge Martin was clearly convinced in his own mind that it was the right call. Otherwise, you wouldn't come in and voluntarily give up 45 seconds. You would only do that unless you were absolutely convinced that you were going to get that time back. Fortunately for Martin, the rain stopped just as he came in and changed.
Yeah, at the moment it's looking like a massive Misano mistake, isn't it? Unfortunately for Jorge Martin, as we said, he's got to make the quick decisions. These riders have to deal with so much, the fastest motorcycles in the world, with all the gadgets, all the devices. There's not a moment's rest around a circuit as busy as Misano as well, so he clearly felt like at that stage the rain was falling too much for slick tyres. you did get a feeling that as soon as he saw Bagnaia not fit, he was thinking, oh no, wrong call. Back at the front then, Marquez is just under 9/10 clear of Bagnaia. There's a bit of a gap then back to Bastianini, who's doing low 132s. The only rider currently out on circuit capable of finding a lap in the 131s is your race leader, Marquez.
Yeah, I guess Pecco Bagnaia will obviously know that Jorge Martin isn't there anymore, because he'll see his name disappear off his pit board, because he was the rider immediately behind him. But I guess only Pecco will be able to tell us after the race how aware he is at the moment of Jorge Martin's status in this race. Would the team have told him that Martin was effectively out? Would they have told him that he'd swapped bikes, or will they have told him absolutely nothing and left him to deal with the task at hand? And the task at the moment is Marc Marquez on the 93 up ahead of him, who waited 1,043 days for a Motogp win. He might only have to wait another 7 days for his next one.
Well, it's like London bus, isn't it? You wait an age for one to come along and then two come along at the same time. Marc Marquez leading here in Misano. He loves this San Marino circuit. 9 podiums previously with 7 wins, 4 in MotoGP. This is going to be a real examination, isn't it, of Bagnaia's risk over reward ratio. You feel that Ducati have had to have informed him that Martin is out. In these kind of real tricky conditions where it's so easy to make a mistake, what they don't want to see is Bagnaia throwing it to the scenery with Martin already way out of contention.
Alex Marquez then finally gets through on Jack Miller. He's been trying that for a good few laps now, so the second Gresini Ducati is now up in 4th place. KTM is now 5th and 6th. Behind them is Marco Itzeki and Fabio Quartararo, who's continuing to hang on to this group. It runs all the way from 4th back into 8th place. There you can see the number 20 just at the back of the picture, and then right behind them is a rather forlorn Jorge Martin.
Well, Marc Marquez said last weekend in Aragon, with the slippery, low grip surface of Aragon, they were his conditions, tailor-made for him. Well, these scenarios as well, with light rain spots falling, tricky to work out where the limit is, these are also Marc Marquez conditions as well. He is making hay while the sun doesn't shine at the moment here in Misano. He's about to complete lap 15 of 27, well into the second half of this thrilling Misano MotoGP race. His advantage just over half a second clear of Bagnaia. The top 3 now all comfortably in the 131s. The rider to keep a very close eye on is Enea Bastianini in 3rd place, a 131.750 from the beach, just like you picture on the 23 factory Duke. He's the fastest rider on circuit at the moment, and we know how good he is at managing that rear tyre, keeping some grip for those vital last 4-5 laps. Plenty more to come from the beach, do you feel?
Well, what will be crucial for Bastianini is just how much rear tyre grip he has at the end of this race, because he's the only one of this leading 3 who has the soft rear tyre on. The leading pair, as we told you before the race, both switched between going to the grid and leaving the grid for the start of the race from the soft rear tyre to the medium. That's Marquez and Bagnaia. There was a 1/10 of a second between them in terms of lap time, but they remain around half a second apart. Of course, Marquez might well won this a bit more than Pecco Bagnaia, because of course he's got very little to lose in terms of the championship. If you think Marquez is still a title contender, he's very much on the fringes of it. 77 points behind Jorge Martin when this race began, and 51 behind Pecco Bagnaia. Of course, with Martin out of play, Marc Marquez might well think, hey, if I win this Grand Prix with Martin down in 15, I might well be back in the mix.
These top 3 are mile clear of Alex Marquez in 4th place. A 4th place last weekend in Aragon, which Alex Marquez was fighting it out for, the 5th place on the podium in Aragon when they had their controversial, because you can see that second group just coming into your picture. Marquez, Miller, Binder and Bezzecchi still involved. Not too far behind as well is Fabio Quartararo, of course, what would just his 3rd Sunday top 10 of the season. They've been few and far between for Japanese brands so far this season. If you're wondering where Repsol Honda riders are today, well, we don't have them. Joan Mir and Luca Marini, both of them sidelined through illness. What a woeful weekend it's been for the official factory Honda team. Aleix Espargaro on the factory of Aprilia has just pitted.
3rd time in this race now, Aleix Espargaro. Of course, he's one of the riders who made 2 bike changes from dry to wet, then wet back to dry again, and he's now pitted, we must assume this time, to retire from the race. The only Aprilia who didn't swap is Miguel Oliveira, and he's running in 11th place at the moment, in a quite a lonely 11th, 10 seconds behind Paul Espargaro, and 9 ahead of Johan Zarco.
Nothing wrong with the grip and the punch that Marquez picks up out of Tremonto. This has been a real strong performance here from Marc Marquez. Unaccustomed to winning in MotoGP, certainly unaccustomed to back-to-back wins, but he's firmly on course for that success. Here he is there now, out of turn 14. You can just see Silty on the outside there, all the gravel that Acosta dropped on. I think the marshals probably got on circuit for a brief break, just to sweep away as quickly as they could some of the debris that Acosta dragged on when he was in podium contention early on. Over the line, Marquez comes then as he starts lap 17 of 27. He's the fastest rider on track, 131.758. Not much in it. Bagnaia and Bastianini respond with 131.8s.
Everyone else is in the 32s, just to underline you. So as you mentioned a moment ago, just the level that the top three are on at the moment, of course. A lot of that is down to the level that Ducati have excelled themselves into. The GP24 is just such an incredible motorcycle, as Marc Marquez is proving. The GP23 is still a formidable piece of kit in its own right. The KTMs are the best part of a second off the pace now. Jack Miller and Brad Binder, they're in their own personal battle for fifth.
You just wonder how much Bagnaia is going to be willing to stick his neck out here to try and win in front of his home crowd. How much does he still feel he's got left in the tank to try and maybe reel in Marc Marquez? Marquez is doing a phenomenal job of just keeping that advantage around the half a second, 0.6 of a second mark as they flick it right into the 250 kilometers an hour Cavone corner, turn 11. Sector 3 all weekend has been Bagnaia territory, but we're now coming into part of this Misano circuit where Marc Marquez really does come into his own. He's been the dominant force in Sector 4, particularly these two left-handers. We know how much Marc loves left-handers, and you feel if Bagnaia has not passed him on the last lap at this point of the race, well, it's well and truly over.
Brad Binder has now passed Jack Miller. The KTM battle that I drew your attention to around about half a lap ago has now switched hands. Binder up into fifth place, although Alex Marquez has of course passed the pair of them. Here's that battle that we were just referencing. 73 comes 33, then 43. Here's Jorge Martin, who it's a tricky one here for Jorge Martin. He's got to stay out there, of course, in the hope that some riders crash ahead of him in the race. But of course, he's not really. The etiquette isn't to get involved here. He's just got to sit behind Fabio Quartararo, because you're not really. It's not really. It's kind of frowned upon, isn't it, for a rider in Martin's position to go carving past riders who are a lap ahead of him in the race.
Big opportunity scored with this, though, isn't it? What an opportunity. Martin all weekend has had podium pace. Light rain at that particular part of the race, it was 30 seconds, 60 seconds maximum. Enough at that phase though to convince Jorge Martin that he needed Michelin's rain tyres. He has not finished lower than 4th so far in 2024. That's one of the key reasons. The consistency as well as the speed, which is married quite brilliantly, is the reason why he came into this Grand Prix 26 points clear. But unfortunately, 4th, just a distant dream right now for the Martinator.
Looking directly into the eyes of the reigning world champion. One of the beauties of races in conditions such as this, when it's either wet or particularly dark out there, the clear visors of the very best in the world, and the eyes of Bagnaia focused firmly on the 93 ahead of him, the GP23, ridden by Marc Marquez, who once again was a fraction quicker than the Ducatis behind him. 131.7 for Marc Marquez, 31.8 for Bagnaia and Bastianini. If that late charge is coming, it needs to come fairly soon, because he's back in the 32s and over 2 seconds off the leader.
Good battle this for 4th place, raging between long-term foes. Alex Marquez, Jack Miller, Brad Binder in there as well. Marco Bezzecchi in 7th place, just trying to keep himself in this battle is Fabio Quartararo there, winner of the MotoGP World Championship in Misano 3 years ago. The Gian Antonio and Polispargo currently inside the top 10. Oliveira in 11th place, a bit of a rescue mission for Oliveira after he qualified way down in 18th place. Look at Binder, sideways, well, he was sideways left, sideways.
Well, I've got an awful lot to race for in this race. He is still in a battle for that final World Championship point, because Maverick Vinales on that last lap did a 32.3. Martin's just cruising around trundling in the 134s. The team need to let Jorge Martin know about this. He is still in a battle here for 1 point.
Marc Martini will not, or 15th would have been an outright disaster coming into this Grand Prix. Having been in 15th place and then to drop out of it, well, think about kicking him while he's down, the whole Prima Pramac racing team while they're down. Marquez then over the line. Oh, what a lap that is by Marquez. What a lap, a 1:31.564 is the fastest lap of this Grand Prix. Is that the lap that finally breaks Bagnaia? Will Bagnaia just go, okay, I can't keep taking the risks, I need the 20 points. He'll come back here to his home Grand Prix in Emilia-Romagna, just 6 adrift of Jorge Martin. At what point does he just think, you know what, have it, Mark, I don't need to take these risks for those extra 5 points.
Well, the gap is now up to 0.9 of a second. I guess the evidence of the sprint yesterday would suggest that Marc Marquez had very similar pace to Bagnaia, to Martin and to Bastian. He just didn't have the grid position. He thought he had ruined his weekend, he said, when he crashed late in qualifying 2 yesterday morning. The rain at the beginning of this race might well have cancelled all of that out. That looks like being the crucial phase in this Grand Prix, not just because it convinced Jorge Martin to pit, but because it brought Marc Marquez from 9th on the grid right the way up into the lead.
Yeah, and after that early rain, it looks like Marc Marquez will reign once again here in Misano. Parc Ferme here at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli is a very familiar end-of-race destination for the 31-year-old Spaniard who fires out of turn 14.
Bastianini has dropped off badly in this last couple of laps. He was in the high 33s last time around. You can't see Bastianini, look, at the top of the screen behind Bagnaia. He's now dropped nearly 4 seconds behind the Radio World Champion. It's not a problem at the moment for the Beast because Alex Marquez is 6 seconds behind as Marquez and Bagnaia continue to lap in the 31s. Bastianini back into the 32s last time around, so perhaps a mistake on the 20th lap for Bastianini, which dropped him away from his teammate.
Yeah, obviously some kind of mistake there from the Beast that dropped him into those 133s. Yeah, I think we're already seeing Bagnaia locked down into safety mode, locked down into conservative mode here, because Marc Marquez is starting to streak away up into the distance, already out of his shot, powering through the fast kick through turn 7. On the brakes we go into 1.4 seconds nearly is Marquez's advantage as we come to the halfway point of this lap 22.
And Martin has got back on it again, unsurprisingly, obviously alerted by his team there. If you just cruise around here and wait for the chicken fights to come out, you might lose that final World Championship point to Maverick Vinales. You never know how crucial every last point may yet prove to be at the end of this season. Of course, if you put the flag out now, his World Championship lead, which started today at 26 points, would come down to 7. He'd lose 19 of his advantage to Bagnaia, so Martin has got back on with it, back down to low 132s, and he now appears to have Vinales covered again.
Pre-race, I'm sure Jorge Martin would have said probably his worst case scenario would have been a Bagnaia win and then him taking 2nd place. 21 points, not a bad weekend at all, but this has turned out to be the worst of worst case scenarios, hasn't it, for Martin? The decision to pit as those rain spots fell right at the start of this Grand Prix. A costly decision as it stands right now. We track Alex Marquez, who has been hotly pursued by Alex Marquez for a good number of laps now. Jack Miller's just running out of rhythm late on here. Marco Bezzecchi got him for 6 on that previous lap.
This is the battle then for the final World Championship point, and Vinales has caught back up with Jorge Martin, who now has a track limits warning. Vinales to the 32.3. Martin was back in the 33s last time around. He thought it couldn't get worse for Jorge Martin. It might be about to.
Well, his head just must be scrambled after all the drama that's come his way in this Grand Prix. There is Maverick Vinales then.
Yeah, they're a lap down, but they're fighting for a point.
With 5 laps to go here, World Championship leader Jorge Martin a lap down and seeing a huge chunk of points just slipping through his grasp here. This will be a real top one to take. There'll be a big post-race inquest, won't there, conducted inside Prima Pramac Racing.
Crashed at the start of the lap, and Jorge Martin pitting at the end of it. That lap could not have panned out much worse for Prima Pramac in the end. It saw their race completely unravel. This is Fabio Di Gianantonio, who's all on his own in 9th place. He's 8 seconds behind that back, but still raging.
Mas Ayana ka
Back to Fabio Quartararo. Paul Espargaro is 10th. He's 7
munculnya
behind Didier, who physically must be quite keen for this checkered flag to come out.
Just something else for Martin to think about as well, because he's got a track limits warning too. As if his day could not get any worse. Brad Binder also, who's in the thick of the battle for fourth place, has just got a track limits warning too. Further down the field, we pick up former Moto2 rivals, Johan Zarco and Alex Rins.
Rins is a lap behind Zarco, by the way, in this one. Rins also has changed bikes twice.
This is over. Marc Marquez has this one covered. He's
Oh,
now over 2 seconds clear.
Ayan yung sinasabi lagi.
Who has just gone, no, it's not worth the risk. 5 points, just not worth it. I'm perfectly happy now to really pounce on Jorge Martin's decision to pit early for the rain tyres. Here is Marquez then now coming through Tramonto. His advantage 2.3 seconds. Hasn't been as convincing as it was in Aragon last weekend, but you have to take the opportunities when they come your way, and Marc Marquez certainly grabbing his with both hands here in Misano.
Yeah, from 9th on the grid, Marc Marquez just revelled in those early conditions when the rain was starting to fall, as the whole pack seemingly just bottled up behind Pecco Bagnaia, who was kind of caught between 2 stools of how hard to push. In the end, that was where Marc Marquez made up all the ground from his 3rd row grid position, and once he got the lead, Bagnaia wasn't able to come back at him, as Alex Marquez now coming under some late pressure. Brad Binder has pulled clear of the 73, and Marco Bezzecchi, after his poor start, might be about to salvage a top 5.
Yeah, Binder's blitzed away from Alex Marquez. Just shows how much he was struggling to make a clean pass then on the number 73. Could go a little bit worse here for Alex Marquez, because 73 versus 72 over the line. Marco Bezzecchi looks the faster of that pair. Fabio Quartararo and Bezzecchi are the riders in this battle for the top 10 to get a late track limits warning. They sweep now through turn 3. Martin is still resolutely defending, fighting every point precious at this stage of the season, hanging on to 15th place, still ahead of Maverick Vinales on the factory Aprilia.
It's a funny one, isn't it, too, for Martin, because you could argue the best way for him to get himself clear of Maverick Vinales is to go and try and get up the road and overtake Fabio Quartararo and unlap himself from the factory Yamaha. Of course, Pramac will have Yamahas next season, but Martin either unable or unwilling to do that. You can see how close he's now getting to the back of the factory Yamaha, so Martin is now bottled up behind a group of riders who are a lap ahead of him, with a rider who's put 1/10 of a second behind him and ready to take a point off him right behind.
Yeah, Maverick Vinales, it's one thing to get on the back of a factory Ducati here in Misano, it's another thing completely to overtake it, particularly cleanly. We know how Maverick Vinales has really struggled to be precise on the brakes on that factory Aprilia here this weekend. He will not want to be intervening in the World Championship fight with a crazy, over-aggressive move on Jorge Martin. Oh, Bezzecchi goes charging into turn 14. He just about got it stopped before there was contact with Alex Marquez's rear tyre there. Just look at how much Binder has been able to gap Alex Marquez. Once he found a way through on the Spaniard, it was a bit of a rolling roadblock, wasn't it, the Gresini rider?
Both Alex Marquez and Marco Bezzecchi are on the softer rear tyre. Of course, we started to see Alex Marquez fade in Aragon last weekend, although we never would have found out how far he would have dropped down the order, because of course he collided with Pecco Bagnaia. But Alex Marquez has got a big queue of riders behind him. Not only Bezzecchi, but Jack Miller, Fabio Quartararo might also come into this. Alex Marquez is back in the 33s, and he's got 2 more laps to try and hang on to this 5th place.
Not the home win he was looking for, Pecco Bagnaia, but 20 points.
Marquez pas juara kemarin.
All the issues that have come the way for Jorge Martin, this will almost feel like a win for Pecco Bagnaia in terms of the World Championship. Hard on the brakes we go, second to last lap here in Misano, into turn 8. Alex Marquez doing a top job here, holding off Marco Bezzecchi. Fabio Quartararo has dispensed of Jack Miller. Summarised this once again by the factory Yamaha rider, starting inside the top 10. Points in the top 10 in the sprint yesterday. Not very often you see Fabio Quartararo collect double point scoring finishes in both the sprint and the Grand Prix, and double top 10 as well. He's doing that brilliant job once again by Quartararo.
Yeah, Fabio Quartararo in a dry weather Sunday race has finished higher than 7 so far. Bezzecchi now through on Alex Marquez. Is Marquez going to try and get back through? He dare not go through, because he would have run straight to the back of the 72, and the moment may now have gone for Alex Marquez. Bezzecchi a lap away from that 5th place. Quartararo might still have a say in the 6th place battle yet.
There's a big screen on the right hand side as you exit turn 14 as well there. You can see Alex Marquez have a good long glare at it. He was just trying to find out maybe how many broad places he could lose. Last lap underway then, the last lap of this dramatic
Last lap, ayam selama last lap.
A last lap which surely is going to see Marc Marquez go back to back for the first time in 3 years on the Gresini Ducati, 7 days after his first win in 1,043 days. He is well on course to win for the 5th time in Motogp here in Misano, on course for his 10th podium finish here in front of the Italian fans. A superb, a hugely significant and important second place coming away of Pecco Bagnaia, but it's now Marc Marquez in cruise control.
Well, we've often described Marc Marquez as the master of the flag-to-flag race scenario. That's the kind of scenario we've had today, but in the end, the big decision, the decision that's winning Marc Marquez this Grand Prix and losing Jorge Martin a whole chunk of points was the decision not to swap.
He has a good long look behind him. He knows this one is safely tucked away in the pocket. One corner remaining then for Marc Marquez, the 31-year-old Spaniard who's going to be victorious twice in 7 days. It was a magnificent, memorable motorland for Marc Marquez, and he repeats it here in Misano. Marc Marquez is your Grand Prix winner here in San Marino. He does win back-to-back races in the Premier Class for the first time in 3 years. 3.1 seconds clear he is of Pecco Bagnaia, who takes 20 points out of Jorge Martin in the championship chase. Enea Bastianini comes home in 3rd place in front of his home crowd. Brad Binder is a lonely 4th place. Bezzecchi 5th, head of Alex Marquez in 6th place. Fabio Quartararo 7th, head of Jack Miller. Fabio Di Gianantonio in 9th place. We still haven't got the 10th place finisher over the line just yet. Likely to be Paul Espargaro, the KTM marker. In fact, he has just crossed the line. 39 second adrift of Marc Marquez, who is enjoying the sweet taste of success once again. Can you believe it? 1,043 days he had to wait for a Motogp victory, and he wins 2 in the space of 7 days. Cue the celebrations. He's done it in Brazilian Racing's home round. Will be super special. They're in the special Fausto Brazini tribute livery as well. What a race that was by Marc Marquez. He came charging through the pack. There you go, back-to-back wins for the first time since Kota, and right here in Misano in 2021. Well, like we said, Lewis, you have to take the opportunities when they come your way. And you always got a sense when we saw those rain spots falling that there was just a massive smile on the helmet of Marc Marquez. He knew this was another big chance, and he took it.
As we mentioned during the race, he described the conditions in Aragon last weekend as his conditions. Many conditions playing for Marc Marquez and letting the talent take over. Those are conditions we saw early in the race. Let's get some reaction from his crew chief, Frankie Carcelli with Simon. Frankie, how well did Marc manage that?
Well, it's unbelievable. We knew he had the pace, but we thought we would go away with QP. And then right at here, just before we went out, we were told by, that we were a little bit crazy using the medium rear. But we knew this morning, and people also, I think on yesterday morning, we went to 28 laps on the tyre, and people going, bloody hell, isn't it better to go on newer rubber? Congratulations, mate.
Ngapain ngerem atau dawag na yan? Aduh.
Frankie Carcelli, thanks very much.
Wah, memang di kandang, dekat kandang. Eropa, San Marino.
Marc Marquez victorious. Pecco Bagnaia, a great day for him in terms of the championship, but Jorge Martin, what is going through the head? He's still the Motogp World Champion. That was never in doubt going into that Misano Grand Prix. But he made that early decision to pit on the Prima Pramac Ducati when the rain spots were falling. A decision as we feared in commentary. It was spectacularly backfired. Look at that, just a bit of wind snap on his a blooper. That was a hell of one of the biggest we've seen for quite some time, you have to say.
Yeah, he rolled the dice, and I guess it was a risk versus reward kind of decision. And it continued raining. He would have looked like an absolute genius. In the end, though, the rain abated, and so did Jorge Martin's getting anything out of this Grand Prix.
Nomor berapa ya? Nomor 7 puluhan gitu lah.
Physically as much as Jorge Martin
Wah, ini bahaya. Murid masa mana namanya kan Italinya. Aku kena tilu ang na yun.
Fix the pain that he's suffering. It will be a gain of 19 points today in the World Championship, and Marc Marquez takes a huge bite out of Jorge Martin. Marc Marquez is now 53 points on the World Championship league. Bastianini's just 9 behind Marc Marquez. Both Marquez and Bastianini have taken big points out of this one today, and I feel they're not quite out of the equation yet.
I know Mark's going to play down the title talk, but there's still a lot of points up for grabs in this year's Motogp World Championship, and you write him off at your peril. He's been written off so many times, hasn't he? Struggling to find his winning touch after some dark times at Repsol Honda. But he came to Gresini Racing. He came to Ducati, as he mentioned last weekend, just to enjoy racing it, enjoy normal life. He suffered so much, and look what it means to Gresini Racing as well. In their home Grand Prix, running the Gresini tribute livery, and as he so often does here in Misano, Marc Marquez has delivered. He looks skyward and takes in a big intake of breath. That was not an easy win. That was a stressful victory as you're trying to calculate, work out where the grip is. How hard is it raining? Is it going to get any worse? Do I pit? I mean, he was, well, there was only Bagnaia that was ahead of Jorge Martin. Was anybody behind Martin tempted to throw themselves in the pit lane as well?
In the end, there were 5 riders who made that decision. Costa, who had already pitted and already crashed, so you can understand him coming into pit lane. Why not? He might as well roll the dice. Of course, his other bike was damaged. And the Aprilias of Vinales, Espargaro, and Raul Fernandez, who were a long way back down the field. Easy, as you say, to say from here, but when you're running in second place with your main title rival immediately ahead of you, that was a big gamble to dive into pit lane so early in the race. It backfired for Jorge Martin.
Yeah, but surely there's a rear tyre choice in Australia last year. For Jorge Martin's sake, that one does not come back to haunt him as Marco Bezzecchi gets a nice congratulations from the boss. That was more like it. Marco Bezzecchi, good to see him back inside the top 6 in 5th place. As we mentioned, it was not the win that Pecco Bagnaia wanted. Second place feels hugely important for the championship. This is, well, last weekend it was Marquez on fire. This sounds like Gresini is on fire. I think Gresini Racing are thinking that they're hoping it's going to pour it down tomorrow for the test, so they can get on the beers tonight in downtown Riccione and properly celebrate back-to-back wins for Marc Marquez.
Pecco Bagnaia very slowly climbing off his Ducati. I think when he settles down and realises what happened to Jorge Martin, he'll be happy with this afternoon. Whether that's a painful Pecco or a Pecco Bagnaia who's slightly disappointed that he didn't have an answer for Marc Marquez once Marc got ahead of him. But in terms of the championship, Bagnaia's the big winner today.
Yeah, I think when he goes to bed tonight in nearby Tavulia, he will be able to reflect on very important 20 points. It looked like it was frustration that he didn't have Marquez's pace, but to be fair, nobody else was able to live with Marquez's pace. Of course, you don't want to be defeating your own Grand Prix by your future teammates, but when he thinks bigger picture, when the dust has settled on that very dramatic Grand Prix of San Marino.
He's hurting, man. I think he's moving very slowly there in Pavone. I think Pecco Bagnaia has gone to the absolute limit of his physical reserves, not too dissimilar to last year here in Misano. That looks like a rider who has given everything just to get second place this afternoon.
Just listen to the noise at Gresini Racing. There is Nadia Padovani, of course, wife of the late Fausto Gresini, who comes down to give Marc Marquez the big cuddle and the big kiss. Congratulations, which he richly deserves. There was just a feeling in the air, wasn't there? As well as the rain in the air. It was a feeling in the air that if there was this kind of scenario at low grip, that Marc Marquez was going to come into his own, and he did. This was where there was a whole big
Sebelumnya jauh tadi nu, awalnya jauh. Ngerem. Iya nanti mainnya bingung ganti semua gitu.
Where Marc Marquez decided to make his decisive move. It's once again another Ducati lockout of the podium, and we can hear from Enea Bastianini, third in front of his home crowd here. He's a Simon.
Enea on the podium at your home GP. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's been a very difficult GP for me because I'm starting from behind, but after when I received the chance to close the gap from the leading group, when there was a little bit of was a bit rain, and I tried to close and was close to the podium. I fight for also for the victory, but I was really tired because my feet now is too bad. Also this morning I feel not very well, but I'm happy. And the podium at home is always special, and thanks to all my team, the family, the sponsor, everybody.
Big congratulations.
Yeah, it's another podium finish for Enea Bastianini. I think that's now his 7th of the season, which actually is his best podium return in the Motogp campaign. So once again, Ducati, what a place to do it in their home Grand Prix. They become the manufacturer of the most podium lockouts in the modern four-stroke MotoGP era. Today was podium lockout number 18, and it was our 400th MotoGP race here. It was packed full of early drama as the rain spots fell. Of course, Frankie Morbidelli, well, he crashed out in that first corner as clearly an in pain Pecco Bagnaia. Looks a little bit ashen-faced. Second place, big day for the championship. Let's hear from the world champion with Simon.
Pecco, in those dodgy conditions, there must have been a lot going through your mind. How do you feel about second?
For sure, surely better than yesterday. Yesterday, the chance to have victory was there, and I didn't take it. Today, more than second was impossible. Mark was too in shape to have to try an attempt and try to win. Maybe next time that I will be fully fit, I can have a chance. But Mark in this condition is for sure, surely very strong. So we will try again next time. But without the rain, the gap I was taking was less than what happened today. So 20 clear points, and it's okay.
Great job, congratulations.
Exactly, as he thanks the Italian fans, as he thanks our fans tuning in all around the world. Yeah, 20 points when all's said and done. It was not a bad return for a hard day's graft for Pecco Bagnaia, because yeah, he would have been hurting over those 27 laps. Pain in the neck, pain in the left shoulder, real significant pain in his ribcage as well. But here he is, back-to-back wins. Marc Marquez once again victorious in MotoGP. He's with Simon.
Mark, how you managed those tricky conditions and pounced at that moment, but also your speed afterwards, super impressive. Please tell us how you feel.
Yeah, for me the most important was the speed after that rain. Of course, that rain gave me the possibility to lead the race, and then when I lead the race, okay, I say now I will try to find the same pace as the practice. Oh, sorry that, I'm tired. And yeah, about the race, the emotions were super high. When we crossed the line, I was super happy. But yeah, today somebody from the sky, I don't know what I mean, Fausto Resini say, drop a bit, lead the race and pull away. So that victory is for all the Gresini family.
Fantastic work, congratulations.
I'm sure the boss was looking down on his team and looking down proudly and full of admiration for the work of Marc Marquez, sporting the Fausto Gresini tribute livery, starting that Grand Prix from the back of the third row in 9th place. Didi Marquez, having had the crash at turn 15 late on in Q2. Certainly got a better start and a better first sector than he managed in the sprint yesterday. Immediately on the inside of his brother Alex Marquez, and as the field Constantine up around the outside of Bastianini, he goes into turn 2. That got him on the inside line for turn 3. He was then quickly on the front foot, wasn't he? Quickly in attack mode as Bagnaia made the dream launch. Jorge Martin at that stage was in second place before the rain spot started to fall, and this is where Marquez came into his own. This is where maybe the divine intervention did come from above. It did come from Fausto Gresini, as he then picked off Brad Brad Binder into turn 14 as the field 6 or 7 riders immediately jumped onto the back of Pecco Bagnaia's rear tyre. And on the exit of turn 15, as Bagnaia was just struggling to find his rhythm and find his pace as the rain spots fell on his visor, Marc Marquez pounced. And as he said, it wasn't just the fact that he was able to adapt quickly to the conditions, but it was his impressive speed once the track had completely dried out. And after a 1,043-day drought without a victory in Motogp, Marc Marquez wins 2 in the space of a week. And you have to say, you have to factor him in as a potential title contender. Look what it means to Gresini Racing. Frankie Carcetti there in the movie picture. Carlo Mellini, what a stalwart he has been for so many years. A sidekick to Fausto Gresini for many years. And there was Fausto's wife, Nadia Padovani. Great scenes for the locally based team. Their headquarters right next door to this Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. As more glory comes the way then of Ducati, and they've done it in front of their home crowd, and this is going to be a special podium celebration. A podium that Marc Marquez will stand on for the 10th time here in San Marino. And the treble is on. Can he come back here in a fortnight's time and make it 3 wins in a row? So we've listened to the top 3. Pecco Bagnaia said he was struggling in the braking zones with the upper body injuries from Aragon last weekend. Marc Marquez, with the big smile on his face, just simply said, I went for it, I had nothing to lose. Well, that might change very, very quickly in terms of the championship, because he's coming back into championship contention. It is still a big ask. Well, there's still a lot of racing and a lot of points to be won in this year's Motogp World Championship. As Marc Marquez then gets set to commence the podium celebrations here in Misano.
Marc Marquez is now 53 points behind World Championship leader Jorge Martin. Pecco Bagnaia just 7 points behind. Because if Marc Marquez is potentially back in the championship conversation, you can argue Enea Bastianini is too. He's only 9 points behind the 93. It wasn't quite the home victory for Pecco Bagnaia. A pair of second places this weekend. Big picture, he comes out as the big winner in the championship. But the absolute winner today, Marc Marquez, from 9th on the grid.
Nge-lag
udah selesai.